What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. In this show, we're doing our DFS picks and sleepers for the 2021 Puerto Rico Open. Craig, we have an alternate event with the WGC Championship happening in Florida. We go to Puerto Rico. You know, we got a couple of rising stars, old veterans here. It should be
classic opposite field event. You got the young people trying to make a name for themselves, and the old guys trying to, hold on to a card or make a paycheck or
extend
whatever
their
it
careers.
is. Yeah.
So at the Grand Reserve Country Club in Rio Grande, Puerto Rico, it's kind of a long course, par 72, 7,500 yards. Looking at the recent winners there, exactly like we said, it's Viktor Hovland, it's Tony Finau, but it's also Martin Traynor and DA Points. You get a mix of these young rising stars and the wisely vets.
Home of the curse. Yeah.
Yeah, and the curse. Hovland broke that, so, people might not.
So now people, they'll be trying. They won't care. They won't be worried about the curse.
Alternate event, so still I think $500,000 to the winner, entering to the PGA Championship, 2-year PGA Tour exemption, a lot of FedEx Cup points, that kind of stuff goes with it. So still a lot to play for. But looking at the weather, Craig, it looks like it's going to get slammed with some wind. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, I mean, that's what the weather says there. So I haven't not independently verified this with satellite imaging, but the forecast says wind, so it looks like wind. Yeah, it's going to make for tough conditions. Looks like it'll be wet, soften the course up a bit. So, you'd think scoring, but then the wind, you think not scoring. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be a week for some people to grind. And, these guys are playing for their careers. So, they're not going to be slowed down by a little bit of wind.
A lot to play for. So it's not our typical show. This is more of our Euro show. We're going to give you each 2 picks and 2 sleepers. Our sleepers this time are under 8K. If you like our videos, give us that thumbs up. Comment below who your favorite plays and sleepers are. And, of course, subscribe to our channel. But, Craig, should we jump into it?
Yep, you're up. Let's do it.
Let's do it. My first pick, Branden Grace, 10,100 on DraftKings. He's 5th there. So I just think he's playing well and has kind of that long history of the player that I'd like to see or I think can go win this. So previous 6 events, he's making cuts. 5 top 40s. He's got 1 top 10, went over to the European Tour, DP World Tour Championship. What's that?
Oh, I was just reading ahead. I see you got the Apex stats.
I got the Apex.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
I got the Apex. So former official world golf ranking number 10 in the world. He peaked at 10. He has 13 professional wins, top 5s at majors, good showing at Open Championships. He's a good player. I think he's kind of coming back into maybe a second peak in his career. The last point there, this was at the 2017 Texas Open. He says, I like playing in the wind. I like hitting it. I hit it a lot lower than the normal guys out here. He has an apex of 82 feet, which is one of the lowest on tour, 221st of all the PGA Tour players. Let me talk about apex for a second. So it's not the determining factor. I don't qualify my guys, and, I'm only picking with low apex. It's just another tick, course history tick, hit form tick, all those things. Apex is just another thing to kind of add that's, okay, a good thumbs up for this player. It's not the be-all, end-all. I'm still going to play players that have a higher apex, for example.
Yeah. Well, and I think as much as the actual apex number, a guy who likes to play in the wind, that means a lot, because wind oftentimes, I mean, yes, it affects physically what's happening out there, but it can be a huge mental drain on these guys. Yeah. And there's people who they like it when things get dicey like that, and there's guys that don't. Yeah. And so if a guy likes it when things are adverse and he uses that as an edge on the field, then sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, my first one here, I am going with Brandon Wu. Comes in 9,200 on DraftKings. He's 11th there, I guess, on DraftKings, because that's the only place we have Puerto Rico Open contest right now. So it's all going to be on DraftKings. I mean, to me, this is just, we've kind of got 2 sets of guys here. We've got the old vets and we've got the young up-and-comers. And he's the young up-and-comer. You look at his recent form, first or second in 3 of his last 8 starts. That's all Korn Ferry Tour starts. And last 3 tournaments, he's been top 15 in all of them.
Right.
Now, those are including a big win. I think it was the Korn Ferry final.
Okay.
He's played against the strongest fields on the Korn Ferry and done pretty well there.
Yeah.
You look at the strokes gained. Now, this is from Data Golf, where they take into account the Korn Ferry Tour, the PGA Tour, the Euro Tour, all the different tours, and they adjust strokes gained total based on, the average strokes gained in that field, and they correlate them between the different things. So based on that, over the past 6 months, he's 4th in this field. So to me, there's just a straight value there that this guy, getting him at 11th price when he's 4th over the last 6 months in strokes gained total, I think Yeah, I think it's a talent thing. You look at, so I just, I can find a way to bring up my boy Willie Z whenever I want, or whenever I can. But 2020 Corn Ferry Tour stats. So they don't have 2021 out yet, but these are for last season. So Brandon Wu is second in scoring, second in greens and regulation, second in all-around ranking. Now, I ruined the surprise, but can you guess who is first in all three of those things?
I'm guessing Zalatoris. What is all-around ranking?
So I think it takes essentially like ball strike. I don't know, but being second behind Will Zalatoris is pretty good.
I mean, it's all encompassing, clearly.
Yeah, so it's the all-around ranking. No, so I mean, the things. So to me, obviously, scoring, greens, and regulation are two of the most important ones you can look at. Sixth in ball striking, I think, is impressive, and then seventh in birdie average. So he's going to put up a lot of birdies, and seventh in birdie average, and also second in scoring means he's not just someone who's going to make a lot of birdies and not be in contention. Like he's someone who's going to be in contention at the end of the day. The thing, can he play at the PGA level? Sure. I think so. He turned pro 2019, 2020. So this would be spanning, I think, late 2019, early 2020. His first 5 tournaments where he had sponsors exemptions. He made the cut on the PGA. Yes. On the PGA, he made the cut in 4 of those. And then most recently he did miss the cut at the U.S. Open, but I think he has, he didn't do enough in his sponsor exemption tournaments to get special temporary membership status. But he looked like he belonged. He just didn't quite. It's tough on these guys.
A lot of people miss the cut at the U.S. Open. A lot of stars miss.
Yeah, but a lot of people also don't get the Will Zalatoris special temporary membership. They do well enough in all those sponsors exemptions to get enough points to get onto the tour that way. It's actually pretty rare avenue. So making 4 or 5 cuts to me is pretty good. I like Brandon Wu here. I'd love to see him win this thing and get his card.
One Corn Ferry Tour guy to another. My second pick here, Taylor Pendrith. I mean, come on, guys. We're going to throw in the Canadian here. I think, okay, we talked about Will Zalatoris. Maybe who's the second best player on the Corn Ferry Tour? Maybe it's Pendrith, coming in 8,600 on DraftKings, 17th ranked there. Talking about the U.S. Open, he popped. He played really well there. Got a T23 at the U.S. Open. Looking at his 2020 Corn Ferry Tour season, so second on the Corn Ferry Tour points list, ahead of Brandon Wu. He was behind Zalatoris. Played more events, though. I think he played quite a few events. 4 second place finishes, though. So he's not just kind of getting all those top 10s, top 25s. He was really close. And as we've talked about this group, it's a big group. Zalatoris and Wu, and beating those guys is not kind of a walk in the park here at all. Looking at his stats from the Corn Ferry season, 16th in driving distance, 321 yards. We talked about this being 7,500 yards to the long track. So pushing it out there definitely helps. 33rd in greens and regulation, not great, but 71%. If we look at just the percentage, 71% is still pretty great. He has played.
Yeah, just real quick on that. When I was looking at Brandon Wu's green in regulation because he was second. Zalatoris was like 5% better than him still. It's just ridiculous how far out front it was. Yeah,
so crazy. He has actually played this course before, so I think that is a positive. He did miss the cut. I think it was by 2 or 3 strokes. Not right on the number, but missed the cut. 2019, does have experience in this field on this course, so I take that as a positive. I like Pendrith at 17th priced. I really like him as a guy who can pop.
Yeah, I'd also, just as a fan, obviously, Canadian boy, I'd love to see him do something here. If you don't know his story at all, he's pushing 30. He might be 30 29. Or late 20s. Yeah. But he essentially has, he's battled some injuries, and he's just one of these people. Brandon Wu is sort of the opposite end. He's recently out of university, whereas Pendrith has been grinding the smaller tours, battling injuries.
Corn Ferry. Yeah.
So he is definitely someone, even if I don't roster him, which I think I probably will actually, even if I don't, he's definitely someone I'm going to be cheering for this week. Yeah. Okay, I'm looking at another young guy with my next one. Justin Suh, 9,000 on DraftKings, 13th most expensive. We have talked about him previously on our show. Since the COVID restart, he's had 5 PGA Tour starts. He's made the cut 4 times. In those 4 cuts made, he's been tied for 21st or better 3 times. So he's someone who he could be taking the Will Zalatoris route. He has started to accrue a decent amount of points. Some of these other guys, Brandon Wu, Taylor Pendrith, they might just need to win it to get their card here. I mean, they're going to be getting their card through the Korn Ferry Tour in a longer, a more circuitous route. Yeah. But Justin Suh could potentially take the Will Zalatoris route and do it on points. So something to keep an eye on. Sure. Looking at his stats again, through Data Golf, where they correlate between the tours. He's 7th in strokes gained total, so I think that's just value. Yeah. But then approach and putting. So who are the kind of guys that can often pop in DFS and just pop and win tournaments? Yeah. The guys that can hit it tight and guys that can make putts. So he's 2nd in approach, 3rd in putting. Yeah. I like that as an upside factor. Yeah. And then last thing, he's a pedigree. Like we've spoken about it before with regards to the fact he came out with or went through the amateur college ranks with Morikawa, Hovland, Matthew Wolff. That whole class. He was number 1. He was number 2 amateur behind Colin Morikawa for a while, and then he got number 1. He was there for half a year. So he's someone with serious pedigree. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like we're building our all Madden franchise mode, picking the rookies, but
dynasty mode.
I think they're all good. Okay, let's move on to some sleepers. So again, we said under 8,000 here. My first sleeper, Aaron Baddeley, 7,500, 34th there. I just feel like this is the kind of veteran that can go out and win this. But I think he can pop regardless. He's an 8-time winner, 4 PGA Tour wins, last in 2016. So it's not ancient history when he won it. It is kind of 2016. It's around the corner. And then 4 PGA Tour, Australasia Tour wins as well in Australia. I think they're kind of combo Australia Euro events, a couple of them. But he has a great history here. So he's only played here only twice. And he was 8th in 2016, 2nd in 2019. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that's still grinding. He won the Waste Management Open, I think, like 10, 15 years ago. And he was at the Monday qualifier for this year's Waste Management Open. Like, he's still grinding. Yeah. And just like a great story to kind of just further his career. I think he's early 40s or so. But again, I think he can handle the windy conditions that we're going to see this week. He's won on coastal tracks. He's won in Australia. He's won, I think, Harbour Town as well. 88-foot apex, tied for 201st on the tour. It all kind of makes sense for Baddeley, like a mid-tier ranked guy to pop this week.
Yeah. I mean, anytime you can take an Australian, and of course it's going to be by the ocean, I think it just makes sense. Yeah. And we talk about young guns and grizzled vets. If you look at that picture and it doesn't look like a grizzled vet, I don't know what you're looking at. But
and I think that hair in the wind. Come on.
Yeah, I honestly I like the play a lot. I think there's upside. I also think it's a safer play than some other guys. So I like it.
Let's talk Aussies. Okay.
Let's talk Aussies. On that note, Cameron Percy, 7,600. He's 31st. To me, this is like if you're trying to plug someone in who's safe, you've plugged in a bunch of these young guns at the top. You need someone you think might make a cut. Cameron Percy might be your guy. So last 11 starts, he's made 7 cuts. He's got 5 top 26s. Had to stretch that from the top 25 to 26 to get the 5th one in there. But that's half his starts over the last few months. Top 10 at Corrales is the best finish over that time. I think, again, on an island, and he's an Aussie. Sure. Yep. The dots are connecting. So stats last 6 months, he's 4th in this field in strokes gained total. So we're getting him at a 31st price rank, and he's 4th. It's just, to me, there's huge value. This might be a chalky play because of how much he kind of shows value, and his recent form is so steady. But tee to green, obviously, that's one of the most important stuff. It's so funny looking at these and like thinking that tee to green 0.23 is like a really good number. But we're not talking about, Dustin Johnson and
the top 70 guys are on the mainland right now.
So 0.23 is pretty darn good tee to green in this field. Approaches his strength in terms of any of the stats, which I think does correlate with potential upside. He's 6th in the field in that. Similar to Baddeley, I think he's got a good history. Maybe a little bit different where Baddeley's only been here twice and he has 2 really good finishes. Right. Cameron Percy's been here 7 times.
More steady.
He's made the cut 6 times. 4 times he's been top 30. Yeah. So to me, it's just, you kind of have to, there's tons of unknowns in this field. And this is one of the ones I think you can be a little bit safer, maybe not the upside of some of the other guys, but I think a good cut maker. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to fit him in my lineup. There's in this mid-7s, there's a kind of a few guys. I think I'm going to try because I do feel like he is that safe when you go riskier up top. But I'm not entirely sure. Okay, my last sleeper. Peter Uihlein, 7,400 on DraftKings, 37. So he's just below those two other guys. Coming in, 3 straight cuts made. Again, this is sleepers for an alternate field event. Not all the stars are going to line and have a perfect situation here. So I'm going to.
We're not talking about Victor Hovland, who hasn't missed a cut since last March or something. 3
straight cuts made. Hey, that's a bonus. 2 on the PGA, 1 on the Korn Ferry Tour. To me, when we get in this range, he's ranked 37 on DraftKings. It's a bet on talent. So former US Am champion, number 1 Am in the world back when he was an amateur. He has kind of battled in the Korn Ferry Tour, PGA Tour. He has 6 starts here. He has popped, so 2 top 6s, really like that. 4 made cuts and then 2 missed cuts. So it's a real kind of mixed bag. Is it mid-pack? Is it popping for a top 5, top 6, or is it a missed cut? I don't know, but he has the talent, I think, to kind of get there and pop again. I like the fact that he's coming in. Form of made cuts, I feel like is good enough form for this price area. And then, Craig, I'm going to give you one little last thing. 4th lowest apex on the PGA Tour, 76 feet. Boom! Hit that stinger, Peter.
76 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
How do you like that?
I like it. I'd be curious to know. I'll have to look at some of the recent ones. I'll go back and maybe have a look at the 2 times he was top 6 to see whether they were windy years. Because I mean, if they were, then I think that almost makes it a slam dunk pick. You got a guy who plays the ball low, and he's had variable form here. Maybe he hasn't done well when it's been nice, and has done well. Like I want to look into that a bit more, because that could be a very, very good value.
I had intentions to.
Well, it gets harder to find that stuff, but yeah, I like it. I'm gonna do some more investigating. I encourage all you out there to do the same. We can't spoon feed you everything.
Hold me accountable. Come on.
Yeah. Okay, my last one here. I gave you the safe sleeper with Cameron Percy. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm giving you the wild card. Joohyung Kim, Tom Kim is what he's known as, but Joohyung Kim is what he's listed as on DraftKings this week. He's 7,600, 31st there, same price as Cam Percy. So if you're playing one there, you can choose between the volatility or the steady play. To me, it's I guess pure upside is not. There's pure upside and there's potential downside. So it's a volatile play. We got an 18-year-old, but for an 18-year-old, he's done a ton already. He's made, so since September, he's had 4 PGA starts. One was, I think it was CJ Cup, which was a no-cut event. So of the 3 PGA events with cuts, he's made 2 of them. So to me, that's pretty good right there. But then his best finish of those is tied for 33rd at Corrales, which, I do think there's something to be said for both these being islands on the Caribbean Sea. The thing, though, that if you don't know anything about Tom Kim, he's just been absolutely dominant at lower levels. So in 2020, so this is on the Asian Tour and the Korean Tour, he had 4 top 5s. That was in a stretch of 5 tournaments, including a win. If you go back even a little bit further to the Asian Development Tour, I think it is, he's got like 4 wins already in his career. Sorry, 3 wins, I think, 1 more with the one he won on the Asia or the Korean Tour this past year. But the guy's just absolutely been a player at every level. And there's something to be said for guys who, if you go and look at his official world golf ranking page, and it shows all of those little tours he's played along the way, you can see he's like just months straight of top 5, top 10s. And there's something to be said for guys who, regardless of the competition, they push people around at whatever level. Like, some 16-year-olds are, I don't even know what they're doing, but he was out there playing against professional golfers and holding his own. So there's a lot to be said, in my opinion, for that. I like him this week as a flyer with upside. And if not, just keep your eye on him because he's someone we're going to see.
Of course you like him. I think he's like South Korea's Akshay Patia. 18-year-olds are going pro. All their stats look almost too good to be true. So of course you love Tom. I love, Craig, that you picked 2 sleepers at 7,600 and you said, here's your choose your adventure. You choose the adventure that you want to take. Go with the veteran or go with
your penny stock that could go anywhere, or like your long established penny stock that still might just be worth a penny, but maybe it's a penny in your pocket.
I like it. Well, thank you everybody for watching. As you said, give us that thumbs up if you like our content. Subscribe to our channel. Watch our other videos, of course, and make sure to comment below. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, good luck, guys. If there's any questions you have about anyone in the Puerto Rico, obviously this is we're down deep in the ranks for this field. We'll be doing our Wednesday live show. It'll be primarily on the WGC.
Yes.
But if there's any questions you guys have, just come over and we'll chat about it then.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
Take care.